Okay, so Osotogari and Haraigoshi were determined to be power throws based on their high initial impulse and power output. And thus, I should say, their power output. Tsunagi, which is Ippon Tsunagi, Ippon just means one, so one-armed hand throw, basically. Had the least amount of power and was its numbers were really small in comparison to the other ones, so it wasn't considered a power throw. So, just to give an example of Osotogari, here is a little video clip from YouTube. As the Torii steps in, he shifts the Uke's momentum to the back with a push, and then there's an inelastic collision between his leg, the Torii's leg, and the Uke's leg, and an upward torquing, with the application of an upward torquing force, which causes a rotation of the Uke's body around its own center of gravity. If you'll see, his hip stays in generally the same position as he rotates around that center of gravity. And he smacks the ground. Why does he do that? Well, he's doing that to protect himself from a lot of the damage that could be dealt using ukemi, which is the art of falling. So when you're getting thrown over and over and over again, the risk of injury, the more times you get thrown, increases, obviously. So people doing judo have to practice a way to fall properly, so that way they can avoid doing injury to themselves or even to the person that they're working with. So to protect the judoka, or someone who does judo, from receiving injuries whilst practicing their techniques, they employ what is called ukemi. Ukemi is essentially utilizing the principles of the conservation of energy to transfer kinetic energy from a throw into the ground, or by delocalizing it across a greater part of their body. Well, how do you do that? Look at the image in the bottom of the screen. This is an exercise that judo could do typically at the beginning of a class, just to warm up, getting a feel for what it's like to hit the ground. They basically have a controlled fall, land on their back, and then smack the mat. Why do they smack the mat? Because as you're falling, you have an increase in kinetic energy, and if you smack the mat before your spine hits the ground, that kinetic energy is transferred to your hands, the bulk of it, instead of being localized on your spine, which can be eventually bad for you. So, so they try and delocalize the energy across a greater surface area by smacking their arms on the mat, or even falling to their side, which takes it all the way down to the leg. In conclusion, there's a lot going on in judo. There's so much involved when it comes to setting up the perfect throw and getting that point. Learning the basics of physics, I think, could help improve a judo practitioner's technique by understanding where the ideal position for a throw is, or how much force is needed for the completion of the throw. Thank you, and as we say when we bow, us.